Have you ever felt that subtle tightening in your chest when your phone lights up with a new request? That invitation you don't want to accept. That extra task you know will steal your weekend. That favor asked by a friend that you know will drain the very life from you. And yet, you felt your thumbs type the words, "Yes, of course." Why do we do this? Why, in a world where we are told we are free to choose, do we so often feel like prisoners of our own making? We have been sold a dangerous illusion of freedom. We think it's an open field, an endless horizon where we can do anything, be anyone, go anywhere. We chase it in our careers, in our possessions, in our relentlessly busy schedules. But in this frantic pursuit of yes, we have forgotten the most profound and potent form of freedom, the freedom of no. The power to refuse what wounds us, what exhausts us, what does not align with the quiet truth of our soul. It is a silent rebellion, an internal revolution against the world's expectations and even our own. If you're searching for more emotional balance, clarity in your decisions, and want to learn how to better navigate life, this content is for you. So go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel, because with each video, you will grow stronger from within and see life with more wisdom. This journey isn't about finding answers out there, it's about awakening the power that already lives inside you. So I ask you, what if the key to your cage isn't acquiring something new, but finally letting go of a weight you already carry? Are you ready to discover the power hidden in the simplest, most feared word in our language? 1. The grand illusion of freedom. From a young age, we are taught that freedom is about capacity. The capacity to do, to have, to achieve. We chase it relentlessly. We work punishing hours for financial freedom. We pursue relationships that promise no strings attached. We build lives that are supposed to be monuments to our ability to choose. I walked this path myself for years. I believed freedom was a destination I could reach through sheer effort and accumulation. I thought freedom was the corner office, the passport full of stamps, the ability to say yes to any experience money could buy. I wore my busyness like a badge of honor. A full calendar, I believed, meant a full life. But in the quiet moments, when the noise of the world faded, a profound emptiness echoed back at me. The freedom I had built felt like a gilded cage. My choices were no longer my own, they belonged to the lifestyle I was trying to maintain. The more I could do, the less I felt in control. This is the central paradox of modern freedom. It's external. It's loud. It's distracting. It convinces us that the void within can be filled with things from without. But it's a thirst that is never quenched. I realized I was free to do anything, but I had never stopped to ask myself what I truly, deeply wanted to do. My life was a series of actions, but it lacked a core intention. It was a ship with a powerful engine, but no rudder, drifting aimlessly in a sea of endless possibilities. The first whisper of true freedom didn't come to me on a remote beach or in a moment of great success. It came in the deep discomfort of realizing my free life felt hollow. It was the humbling admission that the freedom I had been sold, the freedom I had chased, was a beautifully packaged lie. And in that stark, painful realization, the real journey began. 2. The invisible weight of yes. Every time you say yes when your soul is screaming no, you add a small, invisible stone to your pocket. The first stone is light. You barely notice it, but the yes accumulate. The yes to the project you hate. The yes to the family gathering that fills you with dread. The yes to lending an ear to a chronically negative friend. Stone after stone, day after day. Soon you are carrying a heavy burden and you don't even know why your back aches. You don't know why you feel so tired, so irritable, so heavy. It's the weight of 1,000 self-betrayals. I know this weight intimately. I remember a time when I was the reliable one, the person everyone could count on. My yes was a guarantee and my ego fed on that. It made me feel needed, important, validated. But that validation came at a terrible price. My own life force. I would come home at the end of the day not tired from work, but utterly depleted from the emotional labor of upholding everyone else's needs. My public smile hid a private exhaustion. I was giving away energy I didn't have, pouring from a cup that was already empty. The danger of the compulsive yes is that it's a slow poison. It erodes your self-worth from the inside out. Each time you override your own feelings to appease someone else, you send a silent message to your deepest self. My needs don't matter. My feelings are invalid. And when this message is repeated enough, it becomes your core belief. You begin to believe your value is tied to your utility for others. You become a function, a tool, a resource, not a human being. The tree of thought is insidious. In the short term, yes feels safe. It avoids conflict. It avoids guilt. It avoids disappointing someone. It seems like the path of least resistance. But in the long term, it is the path of self-destruction. The resentment you swallow doesn't disappear, it festers. It leaks out as sarcasm, as passive aggression, as emotional distance. The very relationship you said yes to preserve is the one that gets poisoned by your unspoken truth. To be free, you must first acknowledge your chains. And for many of us, the heaviest chains are forged from a single, simple word, yes. 3. No, the sacred word of self-reclamation. We have been taught to fear the word no. We see it as a rejection, a confrontation, a door slamming shut. It feels harsh, unkind, selfish. But I invite you to see it differently. I invite you to see no, not as a weapon, but as a sacred tool of creation. It is not an act of destruction, it is an act of construction. With every conscious, intentional no, you are laying a foundation stone for the temple of your own well-being. Think about it this way, every no is a powerful yes to something else. When you say no to working late for free, you are saying yes to your rest, to your family, to your health. When you say no to a toxic relationship, you are saying a resounding yes to your own peace and the possibility of a love that nurtures you. When you say no to gossip, you are saying yes to your integrity. When you say no to a social event that drains you, you are saying yes to your need for solitude and recharge. No is not a negation. It is an affirmation. The ultimate affirmation of your own worth. I used to be terrified of it. I equated being a good person with being an available person. My burnout became my greatest teacher. It taught me that my endless yes were not acts of generosity, but of self-abandonment. I began to practice in small, quiet ways. No, thank you, I'm not drinking tonight. No, I'm sorry, I can't talk on the phone right now, I need some quiet time. To my astonishment, the world didn't end. The people who truly mattered understood. In fact, they began to respect me more. My yes, when it came, became more valuable because it was real. No is a filter. It weeds out the users and the takers, and it strengthens the bonds with those who love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. It is the word that draws the sacred circle around you and declares, "This is my space. I am its guardian." And that is where true freedom begins. For mapping the terrain of your soul. You cannot say no effectively if you don't know what you're protecting. We often live with a low-grade chronic discomfort, a persistent anxiety, a nagging sadness, a constant irritability, and we have no idea where it's coming from. It's like having a pebble in your shoe for so long that you've forgotten it's there. You just know that walking hurts. To remove the pebble, you must first identify it. Mapping your inner terrain is the essential first step to reclaiming your peace. The first clue is your body. Your body is a brutally honest sage. It does not lie. Start to notice its language. When you're about to meet a certain person or do a certain task, what happens? Do your shoulders tense up? Does a knot form in your stomach? Does your breathing become shallow? And after the interaction, how do you feel? Energized or depleted? Your body is giving you a constant stream of data. I started doing this body check-in, and the patterns that emerged were undeniable. Certain people and activities were consistent sources of physical tension. The second clue is your emotions. Emotions are not good or bad, they are messengers. Anger often signals that a boundary has been violated. Anxiety can point to a fear that you're living out of alignment with your truth. Resentment is the clear sign that you have given more than was fair or healthy for you. Instead of suppressing these feelings, get curious about them. Ask them, what are you here to tell me? What situation brought you here? Keeping a simple journal for a week, noting what you were doing when a strong emotion arose, can reveal the map of your pain points with startling clarity. The third clue is your energy. Your energy is your most precious currency, more valuable than time or money. At the end of each day, do a quick energy audit. What activities deposited energy into your account? What conversations left you feeling inspired and full? And what or who made a massive withdrawal, leaving you feeling empty and overdrawn? These energy vampires are often subtle. Mindless scrolling on social media, engaging in pointless arguments, complaining. Identifying them is the first step to cutting them off. This map doesn't give you power over others. It gives you power over yourself. You are no longer wandering blindly through your life. You can see the swamps, the thorny paths, the dead ends. And with that clarity, you can consciously choose the path that leads you home. 5. The anatomy of fear. Why no gets stuck in our throats. So the logic is sound. The map is drawn. The need is clear. And yet, in the moment of truth, the word gets stuck. A cold sweat. A racing heart. And the yes tumbles out, almost against our will. What is this powerful fear that can override our intellect and our deepest instincts for self-preservation? To dismantle this fear, we must first look it in the eye. The deepest root is the primal fear of rejection. We are tribal creatures. For our ancestors, being cast out from the group was a death sentence. That ancient programming is still running in our brains. Saying no feels like a risk to our survival. If I say no, will they stop loving me? Will I be excluded? Will I end up alone? This fear is especially potent if we learned in childhood that love was conditional, that we had to be good, compliant, and agreeable to be worthy of affection. The next layer is the fear of conflict. For many of us, especially empathetic people, disharmony feels physically painful. The thought of creating tension, of disappointing someone, of navigating a difficult conversation, is so overwhelming that we would rather sacrifice our own peace for a fragile, external harmony. I was a master of this. I would swallow my own frustration for days rather than endure 5 minutes of an uncomfortable talk. The problem is, avoiding external conflict only creates a far more devastating internal one. The war is waged inside you in silence. Then there is the trap of identity. We build an identity around being the helpful one, the reliable professional, the rock of the family. Saying no threatens that identity. If I'm not always available, who am I? Will people think I'm selfish, lazy, a bad person? We cling to these labels because they give us a sense of worth. But it's a borrowed worth, dependent on the constant approval of others. True self-worth isn't built on what you do for others, but on your ability to be true to yourself. And finally, there is guilt. Guilt is the emotional weapon that society and we ourselves use to keep us in line. You should want to help. You should be grateful. This guilt is often irrational. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Recognizing that these fears are real but that they are based on old programming and limiting beliefs is the first step toward freedom. It's not about not feeling the fear. It's about feeling it and acting anyway. Each time you say no despite the fear, you are teaching your brain a new lesson. I survived. The world didn't end. And most importantly, I feel free. 6. The architecture of dignity. How to build your boundaries. Once you understand the need for no, and the fears that it's time for the practical work. It's time to become the architect of your own life. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls to keep people out. It's about designing the doors and windows of your inner home. You decide who gets to come in, when they can visit, and how long they can stay. A healthy boundary doesn't push people away. It teaches them how to connect with you in a way that is respectful and sustainable. The first phase is the blueprint, internal clarity. Before you can communicate a boundary, you must be crystal clear about it yourself. You can't defend a territory you haven't defined. Take time to actually write down your non-negotiables. For example, my evenings are for my rest. I do not take work calls after 7 p.m. My mental health is a priority. I will not engage in conversations that are based on complaint or gossip. My financial security is my responsibility. I do not lend money if it puts me in a precarious position. Writing it down makes it real. The second phase is the construction, clear and kind communication. This is often the hardest part. The key is to be firm but not aggressive, clear but not cold. A simple formula is, when you, the specific behavior, I feel, your emotion. I need your specific request. For example, instead of an angry, stop interrupting me, you could say, when I'm interrupted while I'm trying to focus, I feel frustrated. I need to finish this thought. Can we talk in 10 minutes? To a friend who is always late, I value our time together, but when I have to wait for 20 minutes, I feel my time isn't being respected. From now on, I'll wait for 15 minutes and then I'll have to get on with my day. It is crucial that you do not apologize for your boundary. I'm so sorry, but weakens your stance. You do not need to apologize for taking care of yourself. Be direct, be honest, and own your need. You are not controlling their behavior. You are simply stating what your behavior will be in response to theirs. The choice is still theirs. The third and most challenging phase is maintenance. People will test your boundaries. They will push on the door to see if it's really locked. This is where your commitment to yourself is tested. You must be consistent. Every time you hold a boundary, you reinforce it, turning it from a line in the sand to a stone wall. Every time you give in, you teach them that your no doesn't really mean no. Consistency earns respect. Building your boundaries is a profound act of self-love. It is you telling the world and yourself, I matter. My peace matters. My energy matters. And that is the foundation on which a life of true freedom is built. 7. The no outward is a yes inward. For so long, I lived in the false dichotomy of either being selfish or being a selfless saint. There was no middle ground. Every time I prioritized myself, a voice of guilt would call me selfish. Every time I sacrificed myself, I felt virtuous for a moment and then empty. The most critical shift in my entire journey was understanding this. Self-care is not selfishness. It is the prerequisite for any genuine act of generosity. Imagine you are a lighthouse. Your purpose is to shine your light to guide ships in the storm. If you don't tend to your own structure, if you let your foundation crack, if you don't replenish your fuel, your light will dim. Eventually, it will go out. A dark lighthouse serves no one. By taking care of yourself, by saying no to things that could damage your structure, you are ensuring that your light can shine brightly and reliably for those who truly need it. Your no to a trivial demand is the yes that allows you to be a beacon of light. This reframing is everything. The next time you feel that pang of guilt when saying no, change the sentence in your head. Instead of thinking, I am saying no to my friend, think, I am saying yes to my need for rest. Instead of, I am turning down this opportunity, think, I am affirming that my mental health comes first. Stop framing your boundaries as acts of rejection and start seeing them as acts of devotion. A devotion to your own well-being. I started to practice this consciously. When I said no to a social plan, I would actively tell myself, I am saying yes to a quiet morning with a book. I am saying yes to recharging my batteries for the week ahead. Suddenly, the act stopped feeling like a loss and started feeling like an investment in myself. And I discovered that when my own well was full, my ability to give to others became more powerful and more authentic. I could help a friend with genuine joy, not hidden resentment. I could be fully present for a loved one, not distracted by my own exhaustion. Selfishness is demanding that others sacrifice themselves for you. Self-care is taking responsibility for your own needs so you don't have to. The no you speak to the outside world is the most sacred yes you can whisper to your own soul. And from that place of inner fullness, your yes to the world becomes infinitely more valuable. 8. The echo of freedom, how your life changes. At first, the act of saying no feels like an explosion, a moment of tension, of noise. But after the initial shockwave passes, what remains is an echo that reverberates into every corner of your life, transforming your world in ways you never imagined. The freedom you gain is not just in that single moment, but an expansive, creative force that reshapes your reality. The first change you will notice is in your energy. You will simply have more of it. You will stop ending your days feeling like a completely drained battery. This energy surplus is not a luxury, it is the raw material of life. It's the energy you can now invest in your passions, in that creative project you've always dreamed of, in learning something new, or in the simple, profound pleasure of doing nothing at all. I remember the first weekend after I started taking this seriously. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to recover from the week. I simply enjoyed it. I had room to breathe. The second echo is mental clarity. When your mind and your schedule are no longer cluttered with other people's obligations and dramas, the fog lifts. And in that quiet space you can finally hear yourself. Your own intuition. Your own desires. Your own goals. Decisions become easier because they are no longer contaminated by the fear of disappointing others. You begin to operate from a place of authenticity, and your path forward becomes clear, as if you've been driving with a dirty windshield and someone finally cleaned it. The third echo, and perhaps the most surprising, is the improvement in your relationships. You might fear that saying no will push people away. And it will push away the people who were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. And that is a blessing. But your true relationships, the ones built on mutual respect, will deepen. Your loved ones will value your yes more because they'll know it's genuine. They will know that when you are with them, you are 100% there, not out of obligation but out of choice. Your presence becomes a gift, not a service. And finally, the deepest echo of all, a radical increase in self-worth. Every time you honor your own limits, you send a powerful message to yourself. I am worthy. My needs are valid. I deserve peace. This isn't the fragile ego that needs external applause. This is solid, rooted self-respect. You stop looking for validation from the outside because you are giving it to yourself. And when a person operates from that place, they become magnetic. They radiate a calm and confidence that is, ironically, their greatest gift to the world. 9. Maintaining the sanctuary, no as a daily practice. Learning to say no is not a destination you arrive at. It is a practice like meditation or tending to a garden. You don't just build your inner sanctuary once and walk away. It requires daily upkeep. The weeds of guilt will try to grow back. The pests of manipulation will test the fences. The storms of social pressure will beat against the walls. Upholding your no in the face of these challenges is the ongoing daily practice of authenticity. The first pillar of this practice is anticipation. Don't wait for the storm to hit. If you know you are heading into a situation that historically drains you, prepare yourself. Rehearse your no in your mind. Have a simple go-to phrase ready like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to do that," or "That doesn't work for me at this time." Having a prepared response gives your conscious mind a fighting chance against the old, automatic people-pleasing reflex. The second pillar is self-compassion. You will slip up. There will be days when fear wins, when you're too tired to fight, when a yes escapes your lips and you immediately regret it. In those moments, do not punish yourself. That is the old way. Instead, get curious. What happened there? What was the trigger? What can I learn from this? Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend who is learning a difficult new skill. Every mistake is just data. The third pillar is celebrating the wins. Every time you successfully hold a boundary, no matter how small, acknowledge it. Take a moment. Breathe. Give yourself internal credit. I did it. I protected myself. I honored my needs. This positive reinforcement strengthens the new neural pathways in your brain. You are actively teaching yourself that choosing yourself is a good and rewarding thing to do. This daily practice is, at its core, a practice of presence. It's about being anchored enough in your own truth that no external wind can knock you over. It is a delicate dance. It's not about becoming cold or selfish. It's about becoming whole. A person whose generosity is a conscious choice, not a desperate obligation, and whose freedom is a lived, breathing reality. Together we have journeyed through the illusion of freedom. We have felt the weight of the reluctant yes, and rediscovered the power of the intentional no. We have learned that freedom is not found in a crowded schedule, but in a peaceful soul. It is not something you go out and find. It is a power you awaken within. Are you ready to awaken that power? To become the guardian of your own energy? To treat your peace as the non-negotiable, sacred right that it is? I want to leave you with a simple, practical challenge. Just one. This week, identify one small thing. A request, an invitation, a task, that you need to say no to. And when the moment comes, take a deep breath, and with all the calm and firmness you can find, say your truth. Don't over-explain. Don't apologize. Simply honor your limit. And then just notice the feeling. Notice the space that opens up inside you. That feeling, that is the sound of real freedom. And now, I want to hear from you. Your story has power. Tell me in the comments. What was the most freeing experience you've ever had saying no? What did that moment teach you? Your story might just be the spark someone else needs to take their own first step. If this message resonated with you, if you felt a truth in these words, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Every video is another step on this shared journey toward a more conscious and liberated life. Always remember, your peace is not negotiable. Claim it.